Welcome everyone to Hollywood Entertainment News. This is Karosha Ona Carroll, and I have an incredibly talented individual here. I would like to introduce. His name is Don Randi. How are you doing, Don?
Very well, very well. Nice to be
Good.
with you.
Oh, well, hey, it's nice to be with you too. I'm still shaking over here. Anyways, I'd like to congratulate you for being an inductee of the New England Music Hall of Fame, and that's happening September 30th with yourself, the Wrecking Crew, and it's going to be a fabulous evening. Whether you can attend or not, we're all set to give you a great big trophy. And I just want to say that, New England Music Hall of Fame, we support Operation Mobility. Operation Mobility is a program that helps disabled veterans, not just in the United States, but around the world. So it's a really cool thing to be involved in. So let's get to the basics with you, Don. I mean, there are so many people you have worked with over the years. I mean, I honestly don't even know where to start. I mean, we could talk for hours, and we proved that before we turned the cameras on, that we kind of know the same language, other people don't. It's just like,
Sure, sure.
laughing and stuff like that. But let's start at the beginning when you were a child. Did you know that you had like a musical talent? Did you gravitate towards music or anything?
Well, where I grew up was upstate New York in the Catskill Mountains. My
Hmm.
dad had a restaurant called the Actors Inn, and
Okay.
all the people that worked in that whole area during the Second World War, after the war years, they all were booked out of the back of my father's restaurant. It looked like a bookmaker's joint. There was all these telephones for agents, and they
Wow.
would book the whole Catskills.
Wow.
And some of the greatest artists that would come up from New York City would work all those hotels.
So,
During,
so you must be familiar with Catskill Wild Animal Farm, right?
absolutely.
I've been there a lot of times.
Where I grew up was Woodridge, New York, which was near Monticello and
Uh-huh.
Liberty and those places. And
Oh,
it was also kind of a winter resort uh, from the Concord Hotel and Grossinger's and places like that that put in all the great skiing. So
uh-huh.
when I was a kid, I was accompanying acts when I was 15 years old.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah,
That's very young. And you did take piano lessons, I
I
read.
took piano lessons from when I was 5 years old. I was going to become a classical pianist. I
Oh,
studied classical music, but I could read very well, and I always liked pop music. That was my biggest deterrent.
yeah.
When I would play, I would want to make it my version of
Oh,
Beethoven.
I see nothing wrong with that. Be it,
Well,
an individual, independent.
yes, yeah, and that's how eventually became a jazz musician, playing mostly jazz, and then I got into the rock and roll.
Yeah, well, I love that rock and roll. I mean, even wore my rock and roll shirt for you. Of
Let
course,
me
you
tell
kept
you,
it buttoned up so I'd be proper. But when I show up at your club, I won't. Don't worry about it. I have it unzipped to here.
in the very beginning, somebody, Phil Specter, came to a club that I was playing in,
Uh-huh.
and I had no. He said, "You want to play on a rock and roll record?" I said, "Sure." So it was me and five other piano players, because that's the way he recorded. He always used it four or five of us,
Oh my
four or five.
gosh, yes.
And that became his famous wall of sound.
That's right. Now, that's between 4 and 5 piano players playing at the same time.
Sure.
Wow. Yeah. Now, when they played at the same time, did they like play once, play again, and then he'd like slap it all together, or it was just like one big
You
time?
have to realize when we started, there was one track. So
That's
you couldn't,
right.
it was
Yeah.
all mono. Everything was mono.
Yeah.
So we all had to play at the same time. So there was four or five of us, and,
Yeah.
and we did it. Somebody would be up on the high end, somebody be, and Leon Russ would be here, Al Delory would be here, I'd be here, a guy by the name of Mike Rubini, another guy by the name of Mike Spencer, and the guitar players were some of the famous jazz guitar players. Phil loved jazz, and he would hire these guys.
Wow, that's so cool. You know, we were talking about the one track, and then we got 8 track, 16 track, 42 track. Then they switched everything to digital.
There you go.
And there was a funny story I had read about I'm trying to remember his name, Ray Ruff, about when he was in a recording studio, he kept looking at the reel to reel, and you finally asked him like, "What are you looking at?" And he said, "It's not moving." Yeah, so I guess that tripped him up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the truth. There was no tape going around. So nothing can be recorded. It was all digital.
Yeah, now how do you feel about the digital sound nowadays compared to like the analog sound from years ago?
I still prefer the analog.
Me
And
too.
you don't want to know something? All the younger generation now that are buying LPs again, they all prefer the analog also. So it's making everybody rethink everything. It's
Yeah.
easy. It's easier to do digital, much
Hmm.
easier, and they've gotten so much better at it, and they've created so much of the room ambiance. But
Yeah.
it's still not a room ambiance.
No, it's not. And to me, you know, being involved in the New England Music Hall of Fame as a co-founder, I've been singing in bands for years, and I prefer the analog because it has a very rich, warm
There you go.
tone, where digital sounds great, it's fresh, it's crisp. That's not what I want to hear. You know, it's just almost like, I'm not going to say it's flat, they're trying, but it does not have the depth or dimension or warmth or boldness like the analog had.
You explained it beautifully. That's exactly it. And I miss it.
Yeah,
Some
I
of
do too.
And you know what the best part of when we all started when we doing it, and I know Keith Barrows. When Keith did it, we were in the same room, and
Yeah,
Keith would say, "Okay, I need more of this, I need more of that, whatever," and that's how we grew in a studio.
yeah,
But if somebody made a mistake, many times because it was live, the producer like Ray Ruff or somebody like or Jimmy Bowen,
yeah.
hey, who did that? Let's do that. The mistake is
Yeah,
better than.
yeah,
And
sometimes mistakes fit right in there, just keep going.
and you don't have that opportunity many times with digital because you're there alone. You're not playing off anybody. It's a very cold atmosphere. And you
Yeah,
put your part on and you boom. I
right.
prefer having everybody in the room and doing it that way.
I
Hey,
agree with you. There's nothing that can replace that warmth or those little mistakes, and the whole thing just rides so smoothly. Like I love doing live because you never know what's going to happen, and
that's right.
you're totally yourself at that point, mistakes and all. You know, wardrobe snafus, everything else.